Who else you got coming?
Dylan and Corey.
Three good ones. How y'all doing? Good. Yeah, I do, please, if you would.
What were some of the things you focused on just in the off season prior to spring camp and maybe, as you think about like the things that you maybe wanted to tweak or change, how do you feel like that process has gone as you come into spring camp?
Well, I know what the plays are now. I had a base understanding of the offense. I sat there, I explained to y'all, I don't remember when it was, but that was it was challenging, to come in and dissect everything and figure out who we wanted to get the ball to, figure out what plays we wanted to run. I did narrow it down by about 50%, and then came up with the call sheet and over the course of those 4 games, every game when I was calling it, I understood it a little bit more, obviously, right? And so that was what it was. And then, January 2nd came back, and I think Coach wanted me back on like January 1st, and I was like, I need at least a couple days off here. I never worked so hard in my life, but coming in, so it was good that I didn't have to go out on the road. Okay, so January, I didn't have to go out on the road, which was awesome. So I sat here for a month and just watched every cut up, and figured out stuff I wanted to do, figured out stuff that I didn't want to do. There's subtle changes in terminology. There's subtle changes in, whether it's sets or plays or whatever. But the majority of it's going to stay the same. I mean, we have good coaches here. This is a good scheme. It makes sense to Dylan. It makes sense to Coach Raiola, which from an O-line perspective is incredibly important. Made some changes with, the pass game and, with some different sets and stuff that make sense to me, and just kind of kept narrowing it down. I came up with three good installs that we've been through a couple of times, and it's I got to figure out what our team is, what our offense is, as far as what the direction it goes. I can take the same offense that we had. I'm going to be a lot more comfortable with it, but then tweak it based on what I see being good, seeing bad. And that's what spring football is all about. So excited to be in it. Been here working with them for 4 weeks, and in the off-season stuff, mat drills, commitment week, but we got some football stuff in, so we set our spring installs based on that, and we've been through it 3 times right now, so all that's good. Excited about it. Now it's just figure out who are our players, who are our better players, what do we do well. That's going to take a long time. I mean, I can't answer any of that right now. I mean, we'll go through all spring, have a better idea. We'll go through 3-4 weeks of OTA style stuff in the summer, and then obviously camp. So what it looks like against Cincinnati and Arrowhead, y'all's guess is as good as mine.
Well, with that unique kind of challenge that you had starting here, what's it mean to kind of have these practices without that game looming over that you need to prepare for?
Well, first of all, I say those 4 games were valuable. When I was here in January, I learned all their names for the first time, but I knew who they were, knew what they could do, spent a lot of time recruiting on campus with all the guys coming in. I obviously did a lot of that. But those 4 games were valuable. If I would have just took over, started rolling in January, right now my head would be spinning. So I can't explain how valuable that time was, that 4 weeks. Although it was challenging, man, I was so happy I did it. I was glad I did it. Glad Coach Rule gave me the opportunity to do it. Easy decision to come back, because knowing the guys, and obviously we got a pretty good quarterback and got good coaches, and the direction of the program with Coach Rule. I'm growing as that coach. I learn something every day, new way of doing things, You know, Nebraska is a great place. I wake up happy, walk my butt to work every morning. Even when it was minus 15, I was walking to work, questioning my sanity and decision, you know, for the 12 minutes it takes me to get here. But it's exciting. It's an exciting time. I mean, the off season was great. Learned a lot, and you know, 3 days into spring, the effort, the energy, all that's really good stuff. So, I'm fired up about where we're at right now.
Was the January, was it mostly you delving into the offense, or was it staff meetings? What did that look like?
No, it was me. Yeah, it was me in front of my computer, just because nobody was here. I mean, everybody's on the road recruiting. You know, that whole month of January is a challenging recruiting month. You know, I think Coach was out for about 2 weeks, so he wasn't even in here. You know, so you know, a lot of the players weren't here. You know, and then they started coming in mid-January, and you know, had a lot of meetings with those guys. You know, did a lot of recruiting dinners. You know, and then when, you know, February 1, we took like 2 weeks off. That was cool. And we came back for 4 weeks, and that's when the staff meeting started. That's when we started meeting as an offensive staff, and you know, I gave them all my thoughts. Here's what our install is. This is what we're going to do. Now, you guys know, you know, talking to the staff, this is what I've decided it's going to look like. Okay, and so there was no learning curve with him. There was with Coach Shorts because he was the only new guy, but the rest of them we started meeting as a staff, and it made sense to everybody. You know, this is what it's going to look like. This is how we're going to do it, and it made sense to them, and so they were fired up about it.
How comfortable are you with that quarterback room after Dylan when you look at just what you have in that room right now?
Yeah, good. You know, Jalen Gramstad call him Granddad. He's the old guy. It's just, you know, it's a coincidence what the last name is because he really does act like a granddad. You know, I mean, he's a great leader. You know, he's got a ton of experience. You know, I was glad that he came back. I mean, he gives us another guy that knows the offense. Smart kid. You know, got a lot of reps last year, especially in January, in February or December. He got a lot of reps because he was the number 2. You know, and so. He throws a good ball. He knows the offense. He knows the terminology. Kids like him. You know, feel comfortable with him. You know, TJ and Marcos, guys coming in, have a lot of talent. They just need to learn it. It's going to take them. It's going to take them a year to learn it. You know, so how much they progress, they're going to get better every time they go line up. You know, and we got a long ways to go to let those guys compete. Who the backup's going to be, I don't know. It'd obviously be Jalen right now, just based on the fact that he understands everything.
Where have you seen Dylan advance in the time since the Pinstripe Bowl?
His body looks good. You know, his biggest January, February, you know, even into March on spring break, you know, we're like, okay, what are you doing for spring break? He came back 5 pounds lighter, you know, so he's really focused hard on his body physically, you know, and he feels good. And you guys know how it is when your body's better and you feel good, it gives you confidence, and you're probably going to play a little bit better, you know. So that's a big thing. Credit to him for the hard work that he's put in. You know, just he's so smart. You know, I you know, talking to the button and read off the plays, and I get about halfway through it, and he's like, okay, I got it, no problem, you know. So really working on his leadership skills, taking charge. I noticed that he was kind of in the shadows when I got here. He didn't really want that because so much was put on him. You know, he's an 18-year-old kid that is leading the offense. Okay, when you try to do that at 18 and then try to lead a team, that's challenging. You know, and so he's working on that right now, and I see a tremendous amount of growth with him. With his leadership skills, he's a good teammate, and he understands the importance of leading, and that's rubbing off on a lot of the guys.
The other day, Coach Rule said he likes the potential of the running backs, and I know you're just starting to figure stuff out, but what's your thoughts about, you know, Emmett and some of those guys, and also what they can do as pass catchers in this offense?
Yeah, well, we know what Emmett can do. I mean, he showed it when I got here real quick, you know, and so, you know, he to me looks like a different kid right now based on the fact that he's confident. You know, he's got some good stuff ahead of him. You know, he's like, you know, the 4 games with you here, Coach, it was it was good, but it's not nearly as good as what it's going to be. I believe that. I mean, he looks really good. He's taking on a leadership role. He's the old guy in the room, and we got a bunch of young guys that don't have reps after that. I don't view that as concerning. I view it as optimistic and challenging, and who they are. I mean, it doesn't matter who they are. Quentin Ives is probably the next guy that has reps. Had a huge December. When the other guy left, he got all those reps. He looks fantastic right now. And then the rest of them are all young. So this is going to be a big spring for them. Because they're going to have opportunities to be able to get a lot of reps and make a lot of progress.
When you think about your history as a play caller and a coach, you've been able to move an offense at a pretty quick pace during games. How much do you want to turn up the dial in this coming year, especially having pared the playbook down?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it depends on how we progress. There's I'm not interested in my old air raid roots. I'm just not. Like I turned that page probably year 3 to 4 at West Virginia. You step into that head coaching role and you understand what the other side needs. You understand what the program needs. Now, Coach Rule runs a tough, physical, hard-nosed program, and I embrace that. I kidded with him the other day about, I came in, I was like, Coach, 15 minus 15, I walked here because I was working on being the toughest, hardest working, most competitive coach I could be, So that mentality that's in the program, the coaches need to have that. The play callers need to have that. If we need to run the ball, we need to run the ball. And the only way you can do that is if you focus on it nonstop. We ran, I've never done this. Never been able to do it, especially in spring practice. We ran 24 inside run drill plays today. 3 groups. I mean, we got like 17 linemen out there that need reps, need a lot of reps. I've never had 17 in the fall. So our numbers are good and it's healthy, and so it's going to allow us to be able to practice the right way. But to answer your question, we need to be able to run the ball, control the ball, but we also need to be able to finish games in 4 wide and push it down the field if we need to do that, in a 2-minute situation. That was today's focus. We weren't very good at 2-minute last year, so we got to get better. I've made changes to that. It makes sense. Dylan's happy. We're going to work it every single day and get better, So 10 personnel, throw the football. Yep. Tight ends and fullbacks and run game stuff for 4-minute situations. We'll be able to do that too.
I figure a smart kid like Dylan, he wouldn't mind going tempo because he's able to process so quickly.
If you leave it up to him, he'd want to do it every play. But he understands. He also understands who his dad is and who his uncle is. And the importance of being physical and tough and being able to run the football. I've never been with a quarterback that is comfortable in the gun and can sit in the pocket and be a drop back passer, but also be able to get under center and make run game checks and handle run game from under center. He's exceptional at it. And so we're going to do it, so, that's why he's a good player, is because he can do a whole lot of things. And he's smart, and he understands football. He understands coverages. He understands run game checks. I've never been around one like that has that kind of intellect.
What are your impressions of Rocco Spindler and Elijah Pritchett, adding them up front?
What I've noticed is just a veteran presence. We got a lot of young guys in that room. We got some older guys, but a lot of those older guys are hurt for spring and not going to be able to participate. So we're, adding those guys and putting them with the first group. It's refreshing, And so Rocco's outgoing, vocal. We'll talk. We'll coach the other guys, even though he's kind of just learning, but he understands football fronts, run game, protections. Elijah doesn't talk. They're 2 different kids, but you're bringing big bodies with experience and presence that we desperately needed up front.
How is Harburg transition to tight end? How's that gone so far?
Good. It's going to be a work in progress. You know what we did with them in the bowl game, sent him in the right direction, right? But we did a lot of outside the box stuff with him. You know, he was a slot, and he kind of would move around and do some different things, and now he's learning how to dig his hand in the ground, and you know, he's gained weight. I think he's up to like 240. You know, he's thick. It's slowed him down probably a little bit, but it's good. You know, he's learning the technique aspect of, you know, being in the box and understanding things, you know, and playing with pad level, and also being able to get outside the box and do some different route stuff. So, he's comfortable doing that. But, you know, running routes, when it's contested, which the closer you get inside, the more it's going to be contested, and you got to work through stuff. You know, it's still a work in progress, but I like where he's at. Great kid, hard worker, man. Just, you know, he's really going to help us with that.
And they confirm, is Carter Nelson, is he going to play tight end when he's back, or will he stay at receiver?
He's eventually going to get there. He's going to get big. I mean, he's 6'5" and 220 pounds right now, or whatever he is. You know, like when we started, I think it's December. You know, we moved him to Sat's room for the bowl stuff, and he was starting to like learn the tight end stuff. And like 2 days into it, he got a stinger. It knocked him out for like 2 weeks. And so I was like, just play inside receiver and let's get through the bowl game. You know, unfortunately had to have surgery, so he's not going to be able to work that stuff in the spring. We'll be back in summer, but he will be in Sat's room, and he's extremely talented, can be about as good as he wants to be.
What's it been like coaching with Coach Schwartz again and reuniting and sharing the field with them?
Oh, he's it's like second nature. I don't even think about it. I just know what's happening. You know, he knows what I want, and so he just gets it done. You know, that receiver room looks different. It looks different. You know, but I'm pleased with every one of the ones that we brought in, and I don't want to talk about them. You know, but you know, Jacory's Jacory. Jacory's got the experience. You know, he's confident. You know, him and Dylan know exactly what's going on. The other guys, it's a work in progress when it comes to, you know, getting the timing down. But they all look good. They look explosive. They got ball skills. There's going to be some competition battles, and that's going to be fun to watch.
When did you know that DeKeel would make a good coach?
When he ran a 4.7. I mean, the dude started for 4 years. He was a team captain, right? So he had presence. He was intelligent. He was tough. He never came off the field. He had play through pain. You know, just the whole toughness thing. The you know, personable. You know, everybody loves him. You know, that's why he made an instant impact in recruiting when he was in that role at the other place I was at, and then. You know, but after I coached him and he ran that 4.7 in pro day, I go, yeah, he ain't going anywhere. So I go, hey, bro, I got a bedroom upstairs if you want to go up there and give this coaching thing a try.
When you moved from, I noticed when you moved from Texas Tech to Oklahoma State and then Houston, even then the rushing yards went from, say, 70 or 80 yards a game to around 150 or 60. Is there a target you have for Nebraska, or is that even something you worry about?
I don't worry about it, you know. But it's been of evolution. I mean, I used to yell at Coach Leach, rest in peace. How about, he goes, what should we call? How about a run play? You know, why do we want to do that? Okay, let's run the ball. We handed the ball off, and we didn't get any yards. He's like, well, I ain't ever calling that crap again. You know, just. And taking the OC job at Houston, my good friend Kevin Sumlin said, I want you to do everything you're doing, but we got some run game stuff. But it's out of spread, but it's the whole motion run game stuff. That's when it kind of started a little bit. Going to Oklahoma State, Gundy was tough, physical, tight ends, fullbacks, run the ball, good backs. Had 3 backs that were all NFL players. So, you know, we went up to – Whedon threw for 4,500 yards, but Kendall Hunter had 15. You know, in West Virginia, transition to, like, the first 2 years, Gino, Tavon, Stebbin, all those guys, we threw it a lot. And then we didn't have those guys. And so we really started focusing on run the game. That's when the gap schemes came, the counter, power, true duo inside zone stuff. Learned a lot of run game and did that a lot. Had 1,500-yard rushers at West Virginia. So it's always been a focus, and I don't put a number on it because I know how to practice it. And then you get into the game, and what are they giving you? If they want to take away the run, they can take away the run. I mean, we're just throw the ball all the time. If they want to take away the pass, then we're going to run the ball. So it's always a cat and mouse game, chess match, whatever you want to call it, as far as what those yardage end up. I got goals for our offense, but it's not how much rushing yards or how much passing yards or any of that. It's more about efficiency, first downs, third down conversions, touchdown in the red zone. Things that matter. To me, yardage doesn't matter.
All good?
Yards per play matters.